Hello and welcome to day 2 of our Adaptive Health Challenge. I'm so excited to be here with you guys today. We're going to be talking a little bit about how to adapt your diet based on the seasons of your life, as well as the seasons that we go through just with our planet Earth and the seasons of spring, winter, summer, and fall. Each one should bring a little bit of a different diet and a little bit of a different lifestyle to us. And that, I think, is so important these days because there's a lot of really strict kind of requirement diets out there where there's like a need to feel like I'm paleo, I'm gluten-free, I'm dairy-free, I'm vegan, I'm keto, whatever it is that you subscribe to, that's perfectly fine. But when we hold on to that really strict value of what it is that we're doing with our diet and our lifestyle, it tends to get to a point where there's a little bit of I can't do this, and I can't have this, or I can't have that. And when we tell our brain and our body, I can't do something, it starts to make us feel like we're not capable, we couldn't digest those things, and it's really more of like a weakness. And so it's more important, rather than having this like really strict, really stringent plan, to have kind of some fluidity and some adaptability in our lives. So, for example, I typically eat a primarily paleo diet, which consists of things like meat from protein, or protein from meat, vegetables, fruit, nuts, seeds, eggs. I typically eat mostly organic, all pasture raised if I can get. The highest quality food that I can get is what I try to put in my body. But things change throughout the seasons, including the foods that are available to us. And that changes our diet a little bit. And that's okay. And that's what this whole series is about adapting to our life the way it is and the way that we are seasonally right now. So for us, it's springtime. I'm in sunny California, so it's kind of always springtime here, but it's spring right now, and that means that there's a crazy abundance of berries and fruit and beautiful, beautiful greens that are growing. So my diet, as I've adapted into this springtime, has become so much more fresh and green and colorful because that's what's available. So that's showing kind of an adaptation to the global seasons. And during the winter time, we're coming out of the winter cold months, I would eat things more like more protein, more starches, kind of more of those hearty foods, big soups, big stews, things like that. And as the season changes, I am now incorporating more fruits and more vegetables as they become more available. So that's one aspect of adapting your diet based on the seasons of the area that you live in, so that we can get things sourced locally and grown locally. The closer you are in proximity to your food, the better it was able to ripen, the more it was able to have nutrients in the ground, in the soil before it gets to you, rather than having to travel a long way. So when we eat things like berries in the winter, those berries are probably grown somewhere else. They're picked a little bit before they're fresh or before they're ripe so that they can ripen on the way to get to you and they don't go bad. But by doing that, it loses a lot of its nutrition value or nutrient value. So instead, I try to eat whatever's in season and whatever's growing around me, because that way I can have really some assurance in knowing that my food got to grow as long as it needed to, and it has as much nutrient density as it possibly can. There is another aspect to adapting your diet though, and that comes with lifestyle. And as our life changes, we can adapt our diet to change with the changes in our lifestyle. So I mentioned in the last video, I ended up finding out last year in August that I was pregnant, and I had done all of these things to kind of get myself into these routines with my food, with my morning routine, with my exercise, with all of these things. But as my body was changing, I needed to be able to adapt without feeling any of the guilt and the shame. And I don't know if you know what I'm talking about here, but when we kind of pick that diet, that lifestyle that we're going to live with. I am keto, I am vegan, I am paleo, I am, gluten-free, dairy-free, whatever it may be that you are using for your diet parameters. It's easy to get really caught in the strictness of that. And that's great when you're first starting out. But as you get a little bit more understanding of your body and how your body is incorporating foods, it's okay to add things in that your body enjoys and it works really well with. Some people can have things like grains and dairy without any issues at all. But when we have these really strict diets that say like, no, you cannot have this, we allow ourselves to be kind of in that bubble of, I'm not going to do anything else because it doesn't fit on my do and don't list. But when we allow ourselves that adaptability, the ability to change with the seasons, the ability to see what our body is needing or lacking nutritionally, and then provide for it, no matter what it is that we've labeled ourselves. And this is what I call adaptive eating. So as your life changes and as you adapt, you can incorporate these new things without having such a strict rule about what it is that you're eating. Now, if you're doing some type of healing diet or an elimination diet, it's very important to stick to those guidelines because they've been put there for a reason. If you're doing the Whole30 or if you're doing a healing keto, it's important to stick to the timelines that they say, like do this for 6 months, do this for 3 months. But once you've hit those marks and once your body has started to heal and starts to feel really good and you get your energy back and your life is starting to come back to you, this is an adaptation, this is a change, this is growth in the best possible way. And as you get to that point, it's okay now to kind of open up those parameters and make those adaptations and allow yourself to have some freedom with your food and with your diet. The last thing we want is to be feeling deprived and feel almost like there's some type of stigma, right? We can't have this, we can't have this. And that brings on guilt and shame and these feelings of, I did something bad because I ate, a cheesecake, or I had sugar at a birthday party, or I did this one bad thing. And we tend to take that on and kind of own it, all because we put on ourselves these parameters for our diet. So when we take that away and we say, this is primarily what I do for my health and for longevity and for my life, then we can make these little changes and these little adaptations throughout our lifetime as the seasons naturally change for us. So incorporate more fruit in the summertime and eat more fats and more protein in the wintertime when your body is kind of holding and restoring itself. And allow yourself to change as your body is changing and as we're healing. Even when we're doing healing type diets, there is a timeline for those. There is a parameter set where we can do keto for 6 months and then start to incorporate some other things back into our diet. And maybe we even do 6 months out of the year very strict, 6 months out of the year a little bit more lenient. Whatever it is that is suited for you, that's okay. But when we stick to those like really strict, like this is the bubble that I have to live in, we get stuck. And unfortunately, that brings negative feelings upon ourselves. And you never want to feel guilty or shameful or mad at yourself. Would you ever, if someone told you that they had eaten something outside of their diet, would you ever like chastise them or bully them or say like, I can't believe you ate that piece of cake, you're ruining your whole life? We wouldn't, right? You especially wouldn't say that to your friend or somebody that you loved, but we do it to ourselves all the time, all the time. I can't believe I ate that piece of candy today. I can't believe I had a seized chocolate today. I can't believe I did this to myself. But instead, we can be focusing on all of the amazing things that we do all day long. Maybe you've started adapting a little bit of a morning routine starting from yesterday, and you've started to incorporate these little amazing things that you can do for personal development. You can start to incorporate things into your diet, or adapting in the other way where you're kind of changing and going towards more of a healing diet and more of a restorative, longevity-based diet. And that's adapting too. The point of this challenge is to teach you that it's okay to make changes and it's okay to have growth. The worst thing that we could ever do is not grow, not change, not allow ourselves to continue to adapt to whatever life is bringing us, whether it's a baby, whether it's family stuff, whether it's a new job, whether it's any part of your life that's changing. We allow this adaptability in so many other areas, and then strangely enough, we make this like kind of strict thing when it comes to our diet and our food and the things that we do with our time. So really, when we boil it down, we look at, we're looking at self-love, we're looking at self-care, we're looking at how do we make ourselves feel the absolute best that we can feel. And with that comes these natural changes. Okay, so with everything, I always want to give you a little bit of information and then push you to kind of do something on your own, because when you incorporate this information, then it really makes it useful to you. You can actually put it into practice. So in order to create an adaptive diet, I want you to think about where you are right now, where you stand, what it is that your diet is or your diet practices are now, and give that some kind of a label. Are you eating kind of in any kind of specific way, or are you just kind of like eating willy-nilly and whatever you feel like? And that's also a diet, right? That's also just like the diet that we eat, that we're like, this is what feels good to me, and that's okay too. And if that's what you're doing, fine, put that down on the list. And then I want you to write down 3 ways that you can allow yourself to make adaptations. So whether that's going towards more of a healthier diet, or maybe that's expanding a really strict diet that you've got yourself on now. If you send that to me in a message or tag me on Instagram, I'll enter you in the contest to win a free signed copy of my book, because I really want you to continue to incorporate these new ideas. And each time you do something good for yourself, it feels good, and it's proof to your brain that you really care about your body and that you want to see good, happy changes in your life like I want for you. I hope you guys have a great day, and I'll see you tomorrow where we talk about an adaptive movement routine.